Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first of 6 workshops that Swim England are organising. We thought it'd be a really good idea that we try and get out what's going on around the country with regards to the performance programmes and some of our real proactive programmes. Just want to introduce you to Mike Taylor, who is the performance coach at Sheffield. I'm sure a lot of you.
Morning, everyone.
I'm sure a lot of you have seen what Mike's been doing around the country just with the Facebook and their social media, and I just thought it'd be a good idea. We have 15 minutes where we can talk through what Sheffield have been doing so that the country can share good practice, best practice, and we can get things really moving and make sure we have an efficient and effective mode of communication with our athletes. So Mike, my first question to you really is, what mode and format of communications have you been using with your athletes, your coaches, and other members in your program?
Yeah, well, it all started really that we obviously found out what was going on in terms of that we were potentially going to be in a position where we didn't get much time to interact with people, socialise, be a club really in general. So we just took the aim of that we're going to use social media as a platform and be able to get out to as many of our own members as possible, but also to make that like a community part of it. Is that if we were going to get locked behind closed doors, we wanted to start something up quite early, just to make sure that there was a real good feel around Sheffield, and it's just blown up. And then we just every day we've emailed every member of staff, and we've made sure that all our members, as in paying members, know what's going on, and it's just everything that we can do in terms of email systems, social media, WhatsApping people, phone calls, Skyping, Zooming, however we can, just to make sure people feel connected, still part of the club, and getting people involved as much as possible, because in this time we've really got to make sure that we come together. It's going to be a tough one, but we know that it's essential, really.
Brilliant. And with regards to Zoom and Skype, were most people connected on them already, or was that something that you had to ask people to connect up to?
Well, obviously Zoom we've had to start asking people to connect up to, because we've never really used it before. Skype, our board members use that regularly, but now they're having to use it more just to stay out of contact with each other, make sure that everybody's healthy, keeping people at social distancing, which has been advised. So they're really on top of it, and they've led the way with it. So it's just been passed down through the system now, just to make sure that we're all doing the same.
Brilliant. And with regards to some of the stuff that you released, which members of staff have come together, and who have you called upon in terms of their expertise to produce some things we're going to talk about in a little while?
Right. Well, I think we're quite lucky in terms of with the Performance Centre being in hand now at Sheffield. We've got a mass amount of people that we can just literally pull in, take a look at, ask them for their expertise. And we just started off really basic, that myself, Dan and Jack, our junior coach, got together and we put in a workplace of what is the ideal part of this that's going to go ahead. And we just put at the top, like, health. And we said, right, what comes underneath this now is we're not going to be swimming. What can we do for the future of Sheffield? And we started off with obviously the videos that have gone on Facebook about fitness and staying healthy and doing activities to make sure that you're getting some home training. We did that for benefit for our swimmers to make sure that they don't come back unfit, but we've also gone down a lifestyle part of saying, actually, this is going to be good for everybody, and making sure that if parents are at home with their kids, that they get involved, just to really keep them in a real good place as well, because positive endorphins is good for everybody. So we went down the route of that, and our next steps with it is to really push the boundaries. We're posting a Pilates set up on the Sunday, so tomorrow, where one of our S&C girls is doing a Pilates class, and she's going to lead on that. Our nutritionist has now wrote out like a fact sheet, basically around what's the best things to do going forward in the current climate. And then we've got our S&C guy who's writing sessions left, right and centre. He's sending them through, and we're putting them out there to be delivered. as you can see. I'm sure you've seen this morning's. And then we've also just contacted our psychologist to try and get something around what it's going to look like in terms of your mental health at this part in time. Is it going to be affected, or what things can we do to make sure that we all stay connected? And I think that's where we're trying to make sure that we've got the biggest platform base, that people can interact with it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be face to face. It's got to be done on maybe over all these internet platforms where we can actually progress and still do something productive as a club.
Brilliant. You talked about the Facebook workouts. Other than those workouts, do you send any other information to your members around those workouts, or is it just the actual Facebook?
Yeah. So we've got actual Facebook in terms of that. That's where we deliver it. It goes out there on Instagram because the kids are mental on Instagram. We knew that straight away. That's the biggest part where we get a lot of interaction from them. It tends to be parents and other members that'll interact on Facebook. But if we're looking at the current like videos that we're looking at and situations that we're trying to get out of it, it's putting things together where we send them out on emails. Everybody gets that email at 7:30 in the morning. Just making sure that everybody's aware that it will be up there in the next 2 to 3 hours, and just to keep them really thinking about it. It might not be that everybody comes back in the best shape and they're all ready to go and we can just get back into training as normal. We know that's not going to be normal. So we just got to make sure that we keep them interacting with it as much as possible. And we've got emails that we send out all the time.
And in terms of the feedback from your swimmers and your athletes, what has been the feedback from those videos? What they've been doing? What they liked most?
Yeah, well, I think the things like that they're really interacting with is we've asked them to share the videos. We've asked them to put their own little video up, and we'll put them on our Instagram story. And the kids have gone crazy with it, and the amount of support that they're giving to it is really good. And it's right from the top to the bottom. And you hear conversations that have been going around with even the senior athletes saying that this is amazing. It's really good. It's kept the club like as a close network. But we don't just want it to be that. We want it to be that we can broaden that out to our Yorkshire counties, our regions. And even if we can pick up some people from the Nottingham area. They seem to be picking up quite a lot as well. So it's gone out quite a lot. But I can show you some stuff if you want.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, if I can hand over to you, and if you can share some of those physical documents that have gone out to the swimming community, I'm sure they'd massively appreciate it.
Right, so if we go to our first one, right, so this is going out next week in terms of the actual just 5 tips for our nutrition. And this is just around basically just 5 points which we need to might start thinking about with less exercise being done, especially when we've got nearly 45 hours of training going on inside our own program. Just to give some people some clarity around what it might look like in terms of a nutritional day. Okay, what things to be thinking about to increase hydration. And I think it's just really simple advice to make sure that everybody gets some feedback, okay, from it.
Brilliant. And is that to all the members, Mike? Is that to specific squads for this?
This will go out to everybody in terms of they will all see it, but the notification that will go with it is that it's obviously your choice in what you're eating, but this is the tips that we're giving you, and it'll be the email that gets sent round will be different to each groups. And they will be sent this with a little, basically like notification saying, this is what you need to be able to be looking at for you as well. All right, so this is obviously as well the calendar workout that we're working from. So we've basically planned in week by week, little sessions that we're doing in terms of, so next week we've got like a cardio, fat burner, core workout, aerobic, fat burner and density circuit. And basically they're all just little snippets of little workouts that we're trying to get everybody involved in. And like as of next week, we're trying to make sure that we try and vary it a little bit. So
Yeah.
there's some for our senior athletes, there's some for our juniors, and then there's some for literally if our parents are getting involved and they're first timers to doing this, that they can also do it as well.
Brilliant. I like the fact that you've got that interaction with the parents, that they can do it as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the staff that you're using to produce these, Mike, have you allocated somebody to work out the performance ones, somebody to work out the junior ones? Is it a strength and conditioning coach doing that?
Yeah, so our S&C guy, he's doing all our performance guys. He's sent us all our sessions in terms of what it looks like. Myself and Dan, we've been working on the junior stuff, which looks a little like this. We've gone through just putting out a small workout session each day. And the issue that we have, we've only got a minute to deliver it. Yep. So we've got to make sure that we can get as many of the exercise in within that minute and get it onto our platform as quick as possible. And so we're just trying to keep the actual activities looking just really small, really easy to do. And then on the emails that we send out, they've just got different variations of what people can do now.
Brilliant.
So, and that's what we're looking at next week to be able to do.
That's fantastic. And with regards to coaches connecting, swimmers connecting, how important do you think that is now at this particular time, Mike?
Well, massive, because obviously as a company, you've got to start thinking about the actual implications that this has now. It's become almost where before you were a performance coach and you're there to elite mindset, get everybody ready, and your club that you're trying to build to be in that status. And now it's totally different, where you've got to start thinking about people's health, well-being, even more so than before, and just trying to make sure that they're connected to the club. But it's one of these things where we've now got to make sure that they feel part of the club without being actually there, and it's really essential. And I mean, I don't think we're the only ones here that will be like this, but we know that this is a time that's going to be really tough for us in terms of financially and how we're going to sit within the program and what it's going to look like when we get back. And I understand everybody can be a bit scared about it, but we've done the total opposite. Is we understand that there's all these implications in place, but we will do our damn right best to keep our club at the high peak that it should be, at the quality that it keeps delivering, and also just really being like part of other people's lives, just to make sure that they know that we're out there ready to look after them. Coaches, members of staff, our own swimmers, parents, their grandparents, their friends at school, anybody that can sit there and interact with us right now, is we've got to be seen as an outlet to be able to turn around and say, we want you to stay healthy and we want you to be a part of it, so they all know and see that we're trying to do something good.
Brilliant. And probably my last question, we've all had those athletes where they've had injuries, they've not been able to pull, they've not been able to kick, they've had that adversity where they've not even maybe being able to get in the pool, but yet they've come back a stronger, more able athlete in areas where they've addressed maybe weaknesses. Are you doing any work around that? Is that a message that you're also sending to your athletes around areas that you're trying to address as a club and individuals?
Yeah, so I think that's obviously the next step that we're going in terms of getting our people involved in terms of our physios now as well, that they literally cannot have no interaction with our athletes, but we're getting them to now start thinking about how do we get a daily activity out of keeping people mobile, keeping good stability, making sure that they come back and do a sport that is high intense, and everybody knows that swimming can have a mass amount of shoulder injuries. So we're trying to develop a program where just be active, but at the same time look after yourself. And then as we go through the program, in terms of when we know the level of intensity is going to step up, we're going to get these physios involved and say, what's the next steps? And that question is really key, Rich, because I've asked that question myself to people that I'm working with around, and there is there is answers, but it's like, this is an unforeseen area. When was the last time that we had swimmers out of the pool for a month potentially, who are actually in a fit physical condition? So you're a bit unknown to what they're going to come back like. You just got to know that when you're first back, you've got to be gentle. You've got to take your time, and people have got to make sure that we just understand that this current climate, the athletes and the parents and everybody are going to be a bit stressed, and that anxiety can take a toll on people. And as long as we can put a program in place that supports everybody in that place at this time, we will do our best to make sure that we can keep people injury free, and when they come back, they'll be healthy and fit. And it sounds like I'm trying to say the same message all the time, but this is the only thing that we can do as a club, is we just got to support everybody as much as we can.
That's brilliant. Mike, I just want to thank you for your time. It sounds like you are being planned. You're thinking weeks ahead, just so that you're on top of the game and the curve. And thanks as well. What we'll do is we'll at the end of this video put on your Facebook account and things like that, just so that clubs that maybe don't have those provisions set up yet, or they've not got that capacity, they can share some of the fantastic work that you're doing with their athletes as well, so we can get not only Sheffield but the rest of the country working together.
Anybody's got any questions either as well, just put my email on bottom. I'm more than happy to help people out, send information out, or we can put it on a platform where people can see it if anybody needs it.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much for your time, Mike. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.